What happens when an album isn't hardcore enough for the hardcore crowd? Or it isn't pop-punk enough for the pop-punk crowd? Well, if the record is good enough or a band is talented enough, both communities will come together to celebrate the music, even if they're hesitant to categorize it within their genre's limits. One Step Closer has always believed that hardcore is limitless. On All You Embrace, the band puts that theory into practice. Every release from the Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania band has seen them exploring the sonic overlaps of hardcore, emo, and 90s alternative rock without an iota of self-consciousness or pretension creeping into the mix. That was a blurb from One Step Closer's Bandcamp page for their newest release, All You Embrace. Somehow, One Step Closer found the time to write and record a new album while also being billed on pretty much every tour in the last 3 years. Along with the band Anxious, another hardcore-ish band on Run for Cover Records, One Step Closer were sharing the stage with much softer acts like Knucklepuck, Real Friends, Dayseeker, Movements, and Arm's Length. Assuming people showed up to catch the openers, which I recommend you always should do if you can, they were exposed to One Step Closer's much more aggressive style before they got to sing along to I've Given Up on You by Real Friends. In this new record, intentional or not, One Step Closer will be able to put together a set list that blends in a little better with the headliners on their upcoming shows, with the Wonder Years and Neck Deep. That said, despite this album being more melodically minded than their debut, to me, One Step Closer's new sound on this record is still a far cry from pop-punk, which prevented me from giving this video a tried-and-true leaving hardcore behind thumbnail. I guess I'll have to find a different band for such a title. It's been funny to see people on hardcore forums call this album pop-punk, and people on pop-punk forums call this album hardcore. But even with the disagreements on genre, the sentiment around this record has been overwhelmingly positive from both camps. All You Embrace changes One Step Closer's sound, but only in ways that make it a much more palatable record than This Place You Know. And I'll be in the mood for this record 20 times more often than their debut, which was a little too noisy for me to want to listen to on repeat, despite it being an amazing record. This album has an easier on the ears blend of rock and hardcore and pop-punk and punk, and overall I love how this record sounds. It's produced and engineered by John Markson, who they also collaborated with on their previous EP, and a quick look over his works will explain why All You Embrace sounds so awesome. He's credited on some big names like Drug Church, The Story So Far, Drain, and Soulbind, and some underrated gems like Stay Inside. Sick. Vocalist Ryan Savitski takes full advantage by giving his best performance yet, giving us the widest range we've seen from him so far. He switches from hardcore to alt-rock to emo effectively, but it's especially fun when they're all layered together like on the ending of Blur My Memory. The theme that stands out the most to me is that of loss, capturing the despair that accompanies watching friendships and relationships flicker out one by one. Whether it's because of distance, as explored in Color You, or because of hatred, as explored in Your Hazel Tree, there's a real pain here, and this is an emo-tinged album lyrically. The sadness in these songs is easier to pick out because of the band's decision to have Savitski sing at times instead of just shout and scream. It's a good decision that enhances this album's themes very well, especially on that bridge in Topanga. Damn. There's plenty of exciting drum work on All You Embrace, like here on Slow to Go, where the hits explode across the mix like a firework finale, especially with headphones on. There's also a very satisfying mix of drums and vocals on the opening verses of Leap Year. I can imagine the excitement in the studio when some of these guitar parts came together, like in the opening of Obscure. Most of the time these guitars are so huge that all they do is seem to just fill up a song with noise, which is the perfect backdrop to the vocals, but I especially appreciate when they're given room to shine on their own, like here on Slow to Let Go. The Revolve sound comes together best on the 3-song stretch of Slow to Let Go, Topanga, and Giant's Despair. It's the stretch that I look forward to on re-listens and took this album from great to amazing in my mind. Even though the track list pushes one step closer to unexplored territories, there's not a single song that falls flat on its face. It's no secret that One Step Closer had some writing sessions with Matt Karakis of Citizen and Isaac Hale of Knocked Loose, but I never had the feeling that they used that time to try and figure out how to copy these bands' sound. The closest it comes to that, strangely on one of the best songs on the record, is Giant's Despair, which feels a little Citizen-coded, but at least the band avoided a Citizen or Knocked Loose feature, which would have felt extremely awkward anywhere on this album. One Step Closer maintained their own identity all the way through, even when straying into a more accessible sound like on Orange Tree, which is sure to open this band up to a whole new group of fans, particularly the pop-punk minded ones like myself. I hope you'll check out this record. For me, it's been an album of the year contender, and even though I've seen this band a couple of times now live, I've never been more excited to hear them again, and can't wait to see what they do next. If you're in the hardcore scene and think that I would also like one of your favorite records of this year, let me know and I'd love to check them out. Thanks for watching, subscribe and like to support the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.